Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to another episode of On the Couch with Creatives. I say good morning because I'm here in the UK, but good afternoon or good evening if you're anywhere else in the world. I'm Melanie Perry.
And I'm Julie Hyde-New.
And this is On the Couch with Creatives. Fans and followers of our show will know by now that we're part of the Creatives Group, the private network for creative professionals everywhere. Together, we help you to create at your best, connect you with like-minded individuals, and therefore help you to grow your creative business. That sounds like a good idea to you and you'd like to find out how to come and join us, please reach out to us after the show. We'd be delighted to talk to you. But this is On the Couch. So Julie, who do we have on the couch today?
Today we are talking to children's author Venessa Taylor. And Venessa is from London. She was a primary school teacher for 20 years and she loves football. So when she decided to write a children's story, she drew on her experiences of both and wrote Baller Boys about a group of school friends and their football team. And that won the People's Book Prize for Children's Literature in 2021. And now she's gone and done the double. Her second book, The Boiler Boys versus the Bulldozers, has won the Children's Literature Award for 2024. So let's get her on the couch. Hello, Venessa. Welcome to On the Couch with Creators. Lovely to see you.
Hey, good morning, Melanie and Julie, and thank you for having me on the couch.
Well, you are a very interesting lady, a children's author who's written 2 books and probably a third on the way, seeing as your first 2 books have just taken off. Tell us a little bit more about your background, and then we'll get on to discussing Baller Boys.
Okay, so I was born and raised in London. I grew up actually in quite a deprived part of London. With my family, my siblings, went to school in Hackney, went to university in London, and I'm very proud to be a Hackney Londoner.
But you're a teacher, right? That's your background.
Yeah, so yes, I was a teacher for over 20 years in inner city schools. I only left teaching because actually I was medically retired. Otherwise, I'm sure I'd still be a teacher today. Probably one of the best jobs in the world, at least 99.9% of the time.
What age groups did you teach?
So I taught in primary school. So I was able to teach anywhere between 3 and 11. But I think most of my time it was probably Key Stage 2 and a little bit of Key Stage 1 mixed in.
So what made you decide to write books?
Okay, so as I said, I was medically retired. I was quite unwell and no longer able to teach. So I spent quite a lot of time writing about being unwell. And then one day my oldest daughter and her husband said to me, "Mum, we've got an idea. We'd like you to write about something different." And that's where it came from, really. So my daughter also worked in a school at the time, and so did her husband. He was a PE teacher and had a football club. So one of the things that was happening for him were lots of the players' parents were saying, look, they were trying to use coming to football as a punishment for not getting homework and reading done. And they were saying, their children don't want to read, can't be bothered to read. And I actually understood that because one of my roles in school was as a literacy lead, and I was one of my responsibilities was for raising the reading attainment and enjoyment level of boys, particularly because as we know, boys generally are not as interested in reading as girls. So I had quite a lot of experiences working with boys and trying to find out, why they don't read, what might encourage them to read, how can we get you reading? So with my son-in-law, my daughter and myself, we came up with what we thought would be a brilliant concept, which was writing a book about football, or writing books about football, where we could have lots of really, really richly diverse characters, and that hopefully would engage the children at his club, but all children really.
Why did you, when you were doing your research, what was the key reason that you came across why boys don't read? Was there one particular thing or was it a lot of things?
To be fair, books just weren't engaging them. They just wasn't that interested. They might find a book here or there that they might find interesting for a while. Or some of them really just it wasn't because they couldn't read. It was just that really they just weren't that interested in books. There were much more exciting and interesting things for them to want to do, apparently. But then what I find with children and reading, not just boys, but most children, is when you find the right type of books that do engage you, that's when your love and your journey for reading begins. And I think that's something that did happen with the Baller Boys books, because I had, you know, so much comebacks from teachers, parents, librarians, that actually our children are really, really loving your books. And the children, girls and boys, are asking for more. They're really engaging with it. So that was really good. You know what it is about football? They love football. The books are not really just about football, but that's kind of like the driver. That's what got them there in the first place. It's a bit about football, and obviously it's about other things that go on in children's lives as well.
Sounds brilliant. So give us a little overview of Baller Boys. What are your books about other than football? Give us a flavour of, if we bought your book, what could we expect?
I'll tell you what, Benjamin Zephaniah summed it up the best. He said that my books are not just about football, they're about young people and their possibilities. And I think that's absolutely true. So what these books are about is about children. It's about, you know, how children always want that feeling of belonging. They're hanging on to friendships. They want friendships. They want to feel like they're part of something. And lots of things, the things that happen within the stories are very child-centered. So children that read them really do identify with the issues that are happening within the story, and, you know, are really rooting for the main characters as well, because they're just like them. So what was really important to us was that the characters would be both richly diverse. So they're from all cultures, which is why the football team is called All Cultures United. And also we talk about some of the challenges and difficulties that children go through in every walk of life. Like, for example, one of the characters has got ADHD, another one's got social anxiety, another one wears glasses, one's a child carer, you know, just normal things that happen that children go through. And it's about children reading about this in a very easy kind of way. And for children that actually have those concerns, it makes them feel really, really seen. And that has come across a lot, where I've had children say, oh, I'm like that. Oh, I'm like him. I've got that. And that's been really, really, really a win-win. And it's been so important to do that as well.
So tell us the stories about, obviously you don't have to tell the whole story, but about Baller Boys, and then of course the second one, Baller Boys versus the Bulldozers.
Okay,
give us a brief overview about the two books.
Okay, so book one initially was about the initial idea of just writing a book that we wanted children to read. So that book was about two best friends, Shay and Frankie, who both try out for the local football team. They're absolutely football crazy. Every part of their life is about football, but they want to join a real football club. So on the day, they go down to the trials, they give it their absolute best. And at the end of the day, the coaches say, thank you for coming. We'll be in touch. One of them gets a phone call that says, you're absolutely amazing. We'd love you to join our first team. And he's absolutely delighted. The second one gets a phone call that says, thank you for coming down. We thought you were great. However, we don't think you're quite ready for the main team, but we'd like you to come and join our development squad. And he's absolutely devastated. And it's about really how the two friends navigate that. Feelings of jealousy arise, obviously. Feelings of losing my friend arises. And it's about how the two friends navigate that, how they're able to hold on to their relationship, even with one feeling slightly more insecure than the other. And it's how the other friend really does try to pull his friend along, and how they get through that. And eventually he does manage to get right at the end into the main team. And it's about all of those things that children feel, like I said, feeling, wanting to feel a part of something, wanting to belong, and hanging on to friendships. And it's also about, obviously, the book is called Baller Boys. So at the end of the season, one player is given the title, the accolade of a baller boy. And it's about how important is it to be a baller boy, and what does it really mean? And as I always explain when I read these books to children as well, being a baller boy, obviously you have to be exceptionally good at football. But how I also describe a baller boy is like someone that's a school counsellor. Like in schools, we have school counsellors or ambassadors, and it's about having those qualities as well. So it's about being a leader, being honest, hardworking, fair, resilient, all of those things. So to be a baller boy, all of those qualities, plus being exceptionally good at football. So the children are all vying to be the baller boy, all trying to hang on to their friendships, all trying to hang on to their spot in the club, and actually learning to not necessarily tolerate, but to understand each other and how we are all different but the same, and how we just learn to get along with each other and accept each other for who we are. And all of that really does shine out in the book. And that's the kind of feedback that I get from parents and teachers, to say, you know what, you've managed to make a lot of children feel seen in a book.
That's quite an accolade. So that first book, Baller Boys, was so popular that it received the most votes in the People's Book Prize 2021, and you won the award for children's literature. Well done. Have you got the award with you?
Of course I do. And here it is.
Yeah, it's very beautiful.
It
so did you decide then to write a second one, not because you just won an award, but because the first one was so popular?
I kind of always had it, or we had it in the back of our minds that, maybe we could do a series, but you never really know what's going to happen. But with book one, it was so well received. We had children asking for it, parents asking for it, schools, librarians, they were all asking, when are you going to do a book two? Will there be a book two? So by the time it came round, we already had an audience. We already had a really good fan base waiting for it. So it was quite easy. And because with the topic of football, something I really do enjoy, and, keeping the theme similar, friendships, belonging. But this time what I did was added a slight twist. So I've added a new character, which is a girl called Ashley. Now, when she first joined the team, the boys were a bit like, oh, I don't think we really need a girl on our team. And they didn't give her much time of day, and she felt a little bit put out. Shay, the main character particularly, he was very put out because Ashley came in, she played the same position as him as well. And eventually they found that she was actually quite good. And he was really, really concerned about losing his position, and especially to a girl. But by the end of the book, of course, the guys really realize how good she is, and kind of think, you know what, we don't know how we ever managed without her. And in the midst of all of this, with them being worried about Ashley, of course, about friendships and belonging, they actually find out this time that the local council are about to sell off their beloved football club, the grounds and the woodlands around them. And they're like, absolutely no way. We're children, but if we work together, I'm sure we can try and make a change here. So what they do is they write to the local newspaper, they go onto the local radio, they do a petition, collect lots and lots of signatures, let everyone in the local area and surrounding areas know what's going on. They write to their local MP and within the book, the children learn a little bit about the meaning of biodiversity, which is something that I've become quite passionate about as well. And with all of that, they take the petition, they go on a demonstration down to City Hall, and they hand this petition over. And then they think, you know what, we've done enough. We don't know what else we can do to try to save our club. And while all of that's going on, everyone's still trying to be a baller boy. Everyone's still trying to win matches and games. But of course, like with all good books, at the end of the day, of course, they do go on to save their club, which then leaves the potential for book three, of course.
Yeah. And 4 and 5 and 6.
And
quite possibly.
Well, you're going to have a whole lot of awards lining up. So this second one won the People's Book Prize as well. So as you said, you've gone and done the double.
I've absolutely gone and done the double, and I'm really so proud of this, actually. And the thing about the People's Book Prize, what makes it extra special is actually it's not voted by a panel of 6 or 7 or 8 people. It's actually voted by the public, and that's what makes winning this special. So winning the double was great, but if there is a book three, who knows, I will be back, and maybe I'll be showing that I've done the treble.
Yeah.
Well, with all your fans voting for you, because that's basically what it's based on. If you have a very solid and growing fan base, and all your readers vote for you, you'll keep on writing and you'll keep on winning awards.
Absolutely. I'll definitely keep writing because I do enjoy it. I absolutely do enjoy it. So yeah, I'm actually working on quite a few things at the moment as well. So yeah.
Exciting. She's
So
going to
you're a
make a TV series, Julie. That's what it is.
What? Sorry, I interrupted you and I didn't hear what you said.
I said she's going to make a TV series. That's what she's going to do. She's going to make a TV series. It's going to be a franchise. I can feel it.
Melanie's always quite prophetic. You know, when somebody, because we talk to a lot of obviously talented people on the couch with creatives, and we have an enormously talented membership. And Melanie just sees possibilities like this, you know, and she sparks people's brains. And they, oh, I never thought of that. We should try it. So yeah, let's hope that you one day get a TV series on this.
Absolutely, and it would be perfect. It would be perfect for TV. I've heard little bits and pieces said about the books and TV in the past, but you know, there isn't anything I'm aware of in the pipeline. But yeah, that would be amazing. I think it would be a great TV series, allowing even more children to feel seen. That would be great.
Yeah. Because you know, J.K. Rowling got children reading. They were so fascinated by the whole. Okay, it was all the magic and everything, but it was set in a school, and the children were like the children they knew at school. So Baller Boys really has the same sort of vibe going on. That, as you said, children can see themselves in the various characters and identify with them.
Absolutely, and I think that's what makes, I think, good children's books that are actually believable. The characters are believable, the stories are believable, and the children say, yeah, that could be, children feel that could be them. I think that's
absolutely
yeah,
it's relatable, really relatable. Yeah. And that's, as I say, that's why J.K. Rowling's you know, Harry Potter's gone down in history as a classic, because you know, children can relate to those school struggles that they have with the bullies and the, you know, the fallings out with your best friend and whatever. And as adults, you know, okay, I'm not very young anymore, but you know, I can still remember my school days. I can still remember those bust ups and being bullied at school and stuff like that. So it's still relatable to you as an adult.
Absolutely.
Which is why I think adults love them too.
Yeah, and I think what I've tried to do with these stories as well, because for some children, they're having the stories read to them as well. So I've tried to, where I've included lots of parents within the stories, and the parents identify with the parents. For example, one of my characters, Jamie, who's got ADHD, his mum in the story, he gets invited to a party, and his mum is like, oh my God, no one has ever invited my son to a party before because of his ADHD. He doesn't have a lot of friends. And I had parents write to me, email to me to say, you know what, this is my child. This happens to my child. Because my child have this, they don't get invited to parties. So my son, when he read your book, really, that really resonated with him, and it really resonated with her as a parent. So, yeah.
Yeah, I can resonate with that. My son's got ADHD and we have exactly the same. Yeah. You know, the kids at school don't really want to, he's got a little group of friends, but again, he doesn't get invited to stuff.
Yeah, it's a shame, and you know, books hopefully can change things like that as well, because a part of it is allowing children to be seen, but allowing children to see other children as well. You know, so it's that mirrors and windows perspective where we can see you, but you can also see us. So it's also, you know, they can develop a bit of empathy about how other children are feeling as well, and it also maybe opens the eyes to parents as well that might think, you know what, maybe we should invite him to your party, or maybe we should invite him round, you know, because they are children as well, and they also do want to need to feel included and be included.
They do. And I think people who just see a label or things, you know, it's really sad. I mean, my son is the most friendly guy. Like, adults and younger children absolutely adore him.
Yeah.
It's his peer group that seems to be a bit peculiar. And he did get invited for play date with a guy the same age as him who's got cerebral palsy, and that went absolutely beautifully. Yeah. And his mum said, you know, this particular kid absolutely adores James because James treats him like a person. He doesn't treat him like, oh bless, you know, he needs help. He doesn't mother him, if you know what I mean. A lot of the other kids try and mother him, whereas James can play with him on a level that makes him feel like a real person.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I totally agree. I do quite a lot of school visits, and I think my book's been used in a lot of schools for PHSE as well. And when I do school visits, I talk about the characters, I talk about their challenges and their concerns. And, you know, I say to children, you know, if this was your friend, how would you treat them? And then I say, you know what? Yep. But as your friend, they just want to be treated the same way you want to be treated. They don't want anything different or anything special. They just want to fit in and belong as well. But I also do appreciate that some children have greater needs than others. So we also talk about that as well, that not everyone can. When people say we treat everybody the same, it's not actually true, because not everybody is the same. And that was one of the things as a teacher, when people used to say, oh, we treat all children the same. It's not true, because they're not all the same. Some children need more scaffolding than others. Some children need more support than others. And we try to give them what they need more than saying that we treat everybody the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally get it. I do.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Really, really good point. I think that's probably one of the most daft things anybody can ever say, is that we treat everybody the same. Because even in the workplace, you can't treat everybody the same. We're all individuals, aren't we? And we've all got different stuff going on. So I think that's really, really good point.
Yeah.
What are your top? Sorry, I beg your pardon. Were you about to say something?
No, it's okay.
I was going to ask you for tips from you for people who aspire to become children's authors. What, you know, there's a difference between successful authors and authors that just their stories just fall flat. And your stories obviously are not falling flat. So you must have some sort of idea of why your books are so successful. So have you got some tips for other people who aspire to write children's stories?
Okay, yes. And this is something people ask me a lot in my inbox. I often get, you know, or on my Instagram, people write to me saying, oh, I'd like to write children's books. Can you give me any advice? So I think my top tips would be, number one would be to write about something that you like or something that you care about. So for me, because of my grandsons and because of, you know, my daughter and son-in-law, I write about football, but I actually like football. I like watching football. So writing about football for me was easy. Get to go to matches all the time, because when you're writing, you need to research. So you need to choose something you actually like, unless you're commissioned, which is a little bit different. Or write about something you care about. Like I said, what my next topic for me is going to be about biodiversity, because that's what I care about. So my first tip is to write about something you like or something you care about. My second tip would be to know your audience. Who are you writing for? You're writing for children. What age are you writing for? Because if you're writing picture books for teenies or you're writing children's novels, you need to know your audience. What's the vocabulary that your audience uses? What words do they know? Yes, we can always drop in a few more, but you've got to know what interests them as well, how they see the world. Because, you know, children are quite egocentric. Everything is about them when they're very young. So you have to know who you're writing for. So you're going to have to read lots and lots of books for the age group that you want to write about. And you're going to have to even try to immerse yourself where possible. Spend time with the age group that you want to write about. Spend time talking to them, observing them, seeing how they interact with each other. How do they interact with the world? Because that needs to be part of your story. So that will be my second tip. And my third tip will be actually to write. Find time to write as often as you possibly can. So do a little bit every day. Keep a notebook by your bed, because sometimes, like myself as well, I get ideas in the middle of the night and I don't want to be scrambling around, because I've said to myself many times, oh, I'll remember this for the morning, and I wake up and I don't. So have a notebook handy and write all the time. And those would be my top tips. And then when you think you've got something that looks like a book, have a look through it again. Ask people that you trust to have a look at your book, because eventually what you really want to do is submit these books to publishers. And what you need to do is submit a book that is the very best that you can do at this time. Because if you find a publisher, your work will be edited anyway to further improve it. But you need to get it to a point where it's actually of a standard that is very, very good in the first place, because you need to make that very good first impression. So those would be my top tips. So have you got all of those?
Fabulous tips. Fabulous tips. And I think you're right. Writing about something that you know and like, and know really. So you writing about football was really easy for you because you love football, you know it, you understand it. That would be my idea of hell. I hate football. I never watch it. If anyone ever mentions the F word, I'm out the door and down the end of the road. So I can't do it. So yeah, if I wrote about football, it would be a complete and utter disaster.
You could write about ballet and ice skating.
Yeah, exactly. If I was writing about ballet and ice skating, then it's a completely different story. I could do the next ballet shoes, but maybe not. So I think that's a really important point. Don't just
but that's not to say you can't write about things that you don't know about, because I've been commissioned to write some books about things that I don't particularly know about. So I've got to do the research. So that's fine. But I think when you're starting out as a writer, it's probably better to write about what you do know and what you care about, because it just makes that part of the journey a little bit easier until you become a little bit more established.
Yeah, and get into the research as well. And again, you've got to like doing research. If you're going to be commissioned, as you say, or something, you've got to be comfortable with doing all of that groundwork. It's not easy. You don't just sit down and pen a book in 5 minutes and get it out there. There's a lot more to it.
No, I'm actually even diversing a little bit, because I'm doing some picture books, and one of them contained, for example, a genie, so a little bit more fantasy books. So even writing about a genie, which isn't real, I've still had to do a lot of research. I'm writing about a scarecrow, which isn't real, so I've still got to do a little bit of research. So it doesn't really matter what you're going to write about, you've got to do some research around that topic as well.
Yes.
So again, you got to go for things that you care about, you enjoy, or that you can get into.
Well, let's get a little bit more into your psyche and find out a little bit more about you. Melanie has got her famous pack of cards.
Oh,
my card. This is the on the couch part of on the couch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run my finger along the cards, and then you just say stop when you want me to pick one, and we're going to talk creatively about whatever's on that card.
oh, stop.
All right. Okay.
And just remember, there are no wrong or right answers here. Just tell us the first thing, no matter how bizarre. Tell us the first thing that comes into your head.
Okay.
This is quite a good one for you. Our guess is spooky. Our guests uncannily pick really good cards for themselves and the topics that we've been talking about. You picked achievement.
Oh.
Achievement. So as we are creatives here, we're going to ask you creatively about achievement. So first of all, achievement. If you could see it as a physical being, say, what do you think it would look like to you? What does achievement look like?
Apart from happiness, to me right now at this moment, what came to my head was a big hug.
That's nice. I like that. I like that happiness and that kind of, when you achieve something, it's a warm, fuzzy feeling, isn't it? It's like,
But quite bizarrely, I saw arms, like a really big hug. Maybe it's a well done.
Yeah, I like that. Brilliant. So you said it was like a big hug. What does it feel like?
It feels warm. It feels warm, and it feels safe.
Yeah.
How bizarre. This hug feels warm and safe and welcoming.
Oh, I like that. Lovely. If it had a sound, what would it sound like?
Oh, music. Happy music. But what does happy music sound like? I think it would be, first of all, it'd be quite subtle. And then it would be, let's get up and dance.
Yeah, I like that.
A waltz.
Maybe a little bit more lively than a waltz.
Yeah.
Like a polka.
Yeah, something you get up and shake your stuff.
Yeah.
And finally, if it had a smell, what would it smell like?
Well, I do have this real love for chocolate, but in this moment, it smells like flowers.
Oh.
And I don't know where any of this has come from. Later on, I might think achievement, feels, smells, sounds like something but completely different. But at the moment, that's where it's taken me, to hugs, flowers, and dancing music.
Lovely. I like that. I love
Well,
that.
here's a big bouquet of flowers for you. Well done on both your awards, your second award. And we wish you all the best in your future endeavors, because hopefully, and I'm sure your readership really hope that you will keep on churning out Baller Boy stories.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. I hope so. There'll be more Baller Boys. Hopefully, there will be, as I said, I've got some other things in the pipeline. My new commission is about a girls' football series, which I'm really, really excited about as well. But yeah, it's not always going to be about football, but that's where it is at the moment.
Yeah. Well, football's very popular. It's the most popular game in the world, isn't it? I mean, you can't really go wrong. It's both popular with girls, as you say, boys obviously, but girls as well. So I don't think you can go wrong with football. And that's why I see it working as a TV series, because
Keep saying it.
there's a big base that would watch it.
Yeah, Melanie, you just keep saying it, and let's manifest it all.
Baller Boys franchise. I can see merchandising opportunities here. I can see television. I can see radio, comics, books. Yeah, okay.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Oh, thank you both. Thank you so much for having me. I've had a lovely time on your couch today, and who knows?
We've enjoyed it.
Oh, maybe you'll invite me back, and that'll be yes, please.
It will. When the TV series is done and there's Baller Boys footballs and on sale in shops, I'll say, yeah, told you.
I remember you for sure. I remember you both for sure.
Oh, it's been wonderful. Thank you so much for spending the morning with us, Venessa. It's been wonderful, and we really will look forward to following your story, following your journey. And yes, I'm sure we'll have you back on the couch in the future.
Thank you so much.
Update us. But until next time, we'll see you.